Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Dark Crusade Season 2. On this fine afternoon, we set this scene in the lovely city of Odessa. Eirene has been tending to her wide network of aristocratic socialites and acquaintances and fake moms. And has been spending the evening in where has she been? She been spending it in her own haven, or has she been staying at a particular noble household?
It depends on what time it is. Like, is it early at night, late at night?
Early-ish. It's been about an hour or 2 hours into the night.
Oh, then she's probably still at her own, at her own haven.
Keep in mind, you wake up fairly early, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably waking up about an hour earlier than a lot of Canaanites do.
Haha.
But you are just having a very fun, well, shall we say, focused evening. Introspective.
Yes.
As Eirene loves to be. And to be honest, it wouldn't be surprising if she were practicing her Latin. And but there is a knock on the door. You can have your steward or whatever go get that. Your ghoul.
Yeah, she'll stand up and she'll ask her lady in waiting, the old nun ghoul that she has. She'll ask her to open the door.
Yes, and the door opens to reveal an Auric. And your ghoul recognizes Auric.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they've probably seen each other plenty of times at this point to know who they both are.
Mm-hmm.
Although ghouls' faces are so hard to remember, but you know. Effort is put in because we're not terrible here.
We're not.
Yeah, and you just see Auric, and he makes a polite gesture to your ghoul, and states that he is here to see you.
Yay! Yeah. The ghoul will lead you through to the room where Eirene is in at the moment. And yeah, Eirene will definitely rise when she sees Auric coming in and will curtsy. And then kind of, just with a hand gesture and tells the ghoul to close the door behind her as she leaves. And she will leave. Prince Ulrich, what an unexpected pleasure.
I was in the city, dealing with some business at the Seneschal, and thought I'd stop by to see how my favorite child is doing. I hope I'm not interrupting.
No, you're not. Please come in. Would you care for some refreshments?
He's surprised. Do you have refreshments? You don't have a herd. How do you have refreshments?
She doesn't have refreshments either, so that would be a problem.
You know, I'm mean and half tempted to call you out on this, but
I mean, he can.
Ulrich will simply say, uh, "Thank you, but I'm quite well sated this evening."
I realize I forgot to make hunting roll, so yeah.
You should probably do that.
I should probably do that.
What is that?
Yeah, let me just quickly do that.
No. Let me do it. Dice roll 1.
Yes.
1 sec.
One, two, three, 4, 5. Okay. So yeah, she's good. She'll gesture to like the one chair in this room. It's pretty Spartan. She'll gesture for Ulrich to please take a seat.
Ulrich will take a seat and just say, "Thank you." How have your nights been? I know you're quite busy these nights.
I was actually just writing a letter to you. Guess I don't need to do that anymore.
Lucky
But
coincidence.
indeed, um, my nights have been well, although busy, as you said. And yours?
Well, Timurin remains largely at peace. We've had to deal with a few domain breaches from foreign cities, but other than that, uh,
Foreign cities. In Timuran.
the county of Odessa is still settling after its capital was, well, had a change in leadership, and other cities have as well. Did you hear about the news in Malatya?
I'm afraid not.
The Nosferatu have ceded power to our clan.
I see.
It strengthens our position, but of course it has alarmed many to the sway we now hold in the region. Along with the Ventura, we control the majority of domains.
As well, I mean, I can't imagine people being very surprised at that.
No, but it was the only domain Nosferatu possessed, and it has allowed us to begin initiating something of a stranglehold. Ventura maintains some degree of power by holding Antioch still. They are, along with the Assamites, our only real competitors, but we have an accord with the Assamites. No one outside the Ventura is really a threat to us in the region anymore. The Toreador have managed to cripple themselves in the span of a few months. The Tremere remain untrustworthy, but are a force ill-equipped to deal with us in our current numbers and political power. there are still too many clans who find them distasteful for them to pose a real threat to us on the political theatre.
I wonder how long that's going to change, though. I'm a little worried about what happened during the Elysium regarding the salubri.
The healers have largely left at this stage. To my knowledge, most of the Salubri have returned to Accra. It's their only real domain left.
Do you think they plan to follow up on their threat and attack the Tremere?
I've no doubt the Warriors will. The Warriors have always been at war with the Tremere. The healers, I believe they're playing a different game, a longer game. That is why they have retreated.
Has Lord Abraham left?
I cannot speak to the movements of individual canines.
I'm gonna peony that.
Sure. Well, I mean, he does get multiple successes. So he has a specialty. That's an extremely poor roll. It's literally 9 fucking dice. He might actually have 10. Let me check. He might be maxed. I think he only has 9 now.
I only have 1 success, so yeah.
Yeah, he's not maxed. Wow, that is really unfortunate. I thought you'd have more peony than that. We had 6 dice.
No.
Okay. He's makes sense. I mean, he's not going to know where each individual salubri is. I mean, there's still quite a lot of them.
I hope to see him again one day.
I'm sure if he wills it, it will be so.
This is fair.
From what I knew of him, he was never really one to reach out to others. He generally preferred to let others come to him.
I'll check his, well, I'll inquire at the place where I found him last. I would like to help him if I can. I had hoped you might have heard something of him since, well, 2 of you seem to be somewhat close. And I know the 2 of you have a standing agreement.
I would call it that. I wouldn't necessarily call us close, but we are able to cooperate better than most Canaanites do. We have no qualms with each other.
Well, perhaps close was not the right choice of words, but like I said, I know the 2 of you had a arrangements for times like these. I mean, Irene is watching Ulrich real
He's
closely at that
no,
point.
I'm confused. I'm a little OC confused. What do you mean by arrangement in times
Okay,
like these?
I remember when Abraham helped out Irene,
Mm-hmm.
he and Ulrich discussed the price, and Irene heard that. And I believe that price was that the Salubri would be protected in Timuran. So, yeah,
I'm not sure if you've heard that much. I know you heard part of it.
that's basically what you guys said, what you said in scene.
Fair
Like,
enough.
I mean, I'm not quite sure if Ulrich would know that Irene knows, but
Um, or I could just say we're dealing with the issue.
it's it is none of my concern after all.
It's okay, you don't need to roll my Ipsod for that.
Hmm?
It's okay, you don't need to roll my Ipsod for that.
I mean, it's a true statement. What if she believes it to be true?
It's not a true
So,
statement.
I mean, it's not a true statement.
He'll just say, issues being resolved.
Mm.
Dora's, I fear, will be beyond any sort of help from any clan, considering their irrational drive. They seem incapable of looking beyond themselves.
Yes, I noticed. I feel it may be partially my responsibility for things turning out the way they are, or the way they have been. But the remarks I made were not meant to dismiss their problems. They feel like they were. That's not.
They are set on their path.
Yes.
There's no point worrying over what ifs at this stage.
That's fair, and there are plenty other things to worry about.
Yeah, speaking of which, how goes your political forays into the city's infrastructure? I know that's kept you quite preoccupied, and I'm sure you don't lack for competition.
Well, I must say, so far the competition has stayed quiet, which I'm grateful about.
I have to say, I'm always disappointed.
I'm pretty sure that it will come. I'm having a small problem within my house. Something that I'm finding myself ill-equipped to deal with, but will have to at some point.
No?
The Lord Orbelion is
A philanderer?
a brute.
Unsurprising, I've met many of those who come from the line of privilege with that attitude in my time.
And I'm not quite sure what to do with him. His wife is, well, she is kind and more than willing to please me and help me. But she is suffering under his rulership, and I feel I need to let him go, but I'm not quite sure what is the best way to go about that. I do not wish to kill him.
Often such men are above the law. If you wanted to have him imprisoned, you'd have to
Mm.
have them moved off the record, so to speak, or to have some sort of great court or trial. You could simply have him thrown out of court, but that would risk his house as well.
Exactly. And so I've been thinking about using my powers of persuasion to alter his memories and suggest him to, well, resign his station and go to a monastery in France.
Abdication is rare, but not unheard of. Do we know who his successor is?
I presumed his wife.
How many dots in politics does Irene have?
Three, I believe.
Yeah, women have few, if any, claims to
No,
ownership of
I
anything in
know,
the Dark
I
Ages. It
know.
sucks.
I was more thinking about like I was actually figuring if they had children that they would be younger and this wife would be basically regent until, you know.
Well, she wouldn't be regent per se, but I will roll you a chance dice. You want to go? You want to be high or low?
Oh, I'll be low. I'm very good at being low.
You got 10.
Ah, God damn it.
I'm very good at being low. Rolls a 10. No, there's definitely an heir apparent.
Okay, can I
That
make
heir
a roll for
apparent would
that for
also be
knowing that?
very likely to ask questions as to why his father will be suddenly leaving for a monastery in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, true.
That is the consequence of a 10, is you will not only risk you're not only not necessarily going to get what you want, but it also turns out that this guy's fairly savvy and will also be asking a lot of questions and be investigating into this matter.
God damn it. Mm,
The strength, the benefit you do have to having the lady of the house is that they're often pillars of stability, because women aren't in the firing line. She's not going to be in the firing line. She's not going to be running off to war. She's not going to be doing as much traveling.
Yeah.
She's not going to be as much of a target either. And as you said, she kind of serves as a very strong second.
So I'm still somewhat at a loss as to how to handle the situation without damaging the structure of my house.
Well, you could. It is a longer chain, as it were, but you could simply remove the current lord of the house and affect his heir instead, or as well, rather, to be a better and more magnanimous lord than his father was. You could simply seek to have them both removed, a fairly perilous option if you do not have multiple heirs.
Exactly. I mean, I would keep removing them until there would be someone suited, but
You roll a 10, so there are multiple heirs apparent.
yeah.
Well, there's an heir apparent, and then there's the younger kids. And, like, they're all kids. 3 sons, 4 daughters.
Hmm. I think I may have an idea, but I need to give it a bit more thought.
Keep in mind, other forces may be watching.
I agree, and that is part of what I might be able to use. Other forces.
Well, you want to be keeping an eye on them to ensure that they do not tamper with your internal affairs. I would certainly not advise bringing them into the mix. You're, of course, handling a very volatile situation. You're affecting a transition of power.
Yeah.
Should that be disrupted, your entire house could fall.
I understand. Thank you for your advice on this. Unfortunately, it's not the only issue I'm dealing with.
No. If I may ask, what is it that you wish to write to me about? Now that I'm here, I can address the issue directly.
Well, I spoke with Gerard yesterday.
Not words that I'm particularly happy to hear, but go on.
Regarding the hunter issue that he's going to solve. He asked me for information. And he asked me why I thought his idea was a bad one.
What is it that he wishes to do?
He basically wishes to pile his army against the hunters.
A blunt but effective approach, I suppose.
I suppose. But I would not wish to see so many mortals getting hurt and dying. So I was hoping there might be another solution. I only have one, but it's a rather perilous one. And I would require your expertise.
Rick seems suddenly very measured.
Yeah, Irene is like, I mean, she's hiding her nervousness. She's like standing near a window, kind of watching outside. She's not looking at Ulrich at this point. I figured that the only way to limit humans dying and limit our own kind dying is to set the hunters up against a bigger supernatural threat.
Is that not merely a temporary solution?
Well, hopefully it would get us rid of one of these issues, either the other threat or the hunters themselves.
Either way, our kind would still die, yes?
How would our kind die?
Well, one of these issues would still remain at the end of the evening.
But still one issue is solved.
So you wish to send them up against a separate supernatural threat? Which one in particular? If any.
Well, there are two that I could think of. One being the demonic entity that guided Johanna, the other one being the individual that you're still hunting down.
Let me make it absolutely clear that you're not to approach that entity in any way whatsoever, even indirectly.
I figured as much, so I kind of ruled that one out. So seeing as I can't get to her, there was one other option. And that was to go after that demon.
Oric looks annoyed.
Yeah, Irene finally turned to look at him.
He looks annoyed.
I know it's a stretch, but
Do you know how to find this creature, have an effective means of combating it? Do you know what it associates with? Who it
no.
associates with?
Yes, I know who it associates with, but that doesn't make it any less easier. Mm, I know the shape he took when he left Johanna. And other than that, I believe he associates with that group that attacked the former prince. I do not know how to track a demon, but I know someone who calls himself a demon hunter, and whom I would really like to learn from.
How do you intend to track these figures that it associates with? To my knowledge, they're dangerous elders who are very, very adept at remaining out of sight when they wish to.
I agree. I'm not planning to get them involved at all. I'm just hoping to find out a way to attract the attention of the demon. I was hoping you might know. Maybe not specifically regarding this one, but in general, how does one track a demon?
Attracting a demon is the vast majority of the time achieved through diabolism, which is punishable by eternal death. Sometimes it will seek to play with the mortal populace or the Canaanites if it's dangerous enough, depending on its nature. The only other instance where one could bait a demonic creature would be by possessing something that it so desperately desires or hindering its activities enough so that you would be perceived as a lethal threat to it. Forgive me, but I don't see how you could accomplish either of these things within a reasonable time span. You first need to figure out what this particular demon wants, is after, how it's getting it, or whom, or what. And you need to figure out its associates, or more aptly named servants. From my perspective, I find that you seem to be making a great many assumptions in order to fast track your investigation. That exists for very separate ends than what would normally be the purpose of this investigation.
I understand.
I can teach you, I can't guarantee that it will help you. I don't think Ulrich knows that it's Margot's. So he won't bring her up.
Well, I will admit that I have been intrigued by hunting down these entities ever since our fight in Omar Shadid's shop. So even if it wouldn't be applicable in this particular situation, if you would be willing to teach me, I would be more than happy to be your student.
I don't expect this knowledge to be shared outside of you and me. If I find out that you have, there'll be consequences. I just want to make that explicitly clear before we begin.
Of course, Prince Ulrich. I do have an appointment with Tremere Aldrich in a few hours to discuss this situation regarding this demon. He was more than happy, very willing to help out in tracking this particular demon. But I will not share anything that you do not wish to be shared.
Then everything that I'm going to teach you.
Yes, my prince.
I'm not your prince. I'm not the Prince of Edessa.
I don't care. I think the Prince of Edessa, you and me, all three of us would know where my loyalty would lie if it would be you or her.
And your loyalty humbles me on every occasion.
Now you flatter me.
Oh, he wraps an arm around Irene.
Yep, she'll lean in.
You'll give her a kiss for her kind words.
Hmm? Sorry?
I said he gives her a kiss for her kind words.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I did not understand it.
It's okay, I'm slowly forgetting how to do English due to my copious amount of time online. Copious amount of time online. See, I can't even grammar properly. Not amounts, amount. But yes. I'm sorry I cannot stay longer.
Now I understand that you have many important things to do during the night. As said before, I was very surprised that you even were able to find the time to come visit me here. I miss you.
As do I. Though I might stay a bit longer if you wish.
I would not want to keep you from your tasks.
I'm not being kept from anything at this immediate moment.
She smiles. I would be lying if I I'd say that I didn't appreciate your, well, your presence.
Pardon, what do you say?
She says that she would be lying if she said that she didn't appreciate his presence.
Perhaps then we could retire for a few hours and talk some more.
As you wish, my prince. There's this time there is definitely a smile on her face.
Hmm. In which case, I'll kind of wrap an arm around her waist and take her into the living room or something, or walk with her down a lovely garden. Um, and I think there we can end the scene.
Mhm.
Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time.